You're Sperp back with another video, and I just got done watching Griselda. This is a limited series on Netflix that just dropped. Now, going into this, I didn't know much about Griselda Blanco, her whole story. I just know that she was a big time drug dealer, queen pin at that. Now, doing a little research on Griselda Blanco and seeing who they casted to play Griselda Blanco, I was just like, wow. I did not expect to see what I saw when looking at the actual Griselda Blanco and looking at who's playing her. It's just night and day. I was like, what is this mugshot? Who is this? George Zimmerman? Because that's what I got. And just those two do not look anything alike. I don't know, maybe I gotta see other pictures, but what I've seen so far is like those two do not look alike at all. But that aside, I'm just gonna give you my thoughts on this 6 episode limited series. So this follows Griselda Blanco, already kind of not established as the Griselda Blanco that we know of as this notorious drug dealer. She first, has to leave Colombia because she's trying to get away from her husband at the time. And her husband ain't shit because her husband literally hoes her out just to pay off his debt. And I was just like, wow, that's pretty shit of you. But we find out that there was more to that story once you get to like episode 2, that he actually was killed by Griselda because they got into a whole argument and whatnot, and one thing led to another, and she popped his ass, you know what I'm saying? And she took her 3 kids, which her 3 kids got the most funniest names. I think the oldest one is Dixon, seems pretty common. Then I think the middle child's name is Uber, which is, I've never seen nobody named Uber. That shit's crazy. And Ozzy. So they pack things up and they head to Miami to go stay with Griselda's friend Carmen, which she's a real estate type of person, got her own thing going. And she's the first person to just tell Griselda, yo, don't be on that bullshit. I hope you stop selling drugs. And come to find out, nah, she stole the whole key, is going around like the first 2 episodes trying to figure out or trying to find somebody to buy this kilo off her so she can kind of get off her feet. And nobody's trying to fuck with her. You know what I'm saying? She goes to all the big players and whatnot. Nobody's trying to even do business with a woman. That's a pretty clear theme throughout this whole entire series, and ultimately led to Griselda's downfall. Not, that's one part of it, but there's more to it as you watch this series. So, the first 2 episodes are just kind of dealing with the fact that she has to pretty much be on the run now from her ex-husband's brother that's trying to look for her. You know what I'm saying? That gets pretty much wrapped up pretty quickly. Like I said, that gets wrapped up in the first 2 episodes. And then we jump to episode 3 and 4, where this is where things really heat up. And we kind of see Griselda making a name for herself, still not really getting a respect amongst the other players. And, that's where she starts to really shake things up going into episode 4. And by episode 5, I'm saying, she is at her peak. And like I said, one of her biggest downfalls is hitting that glass, man. Once you hit that glass, that's your ass, bro. And it seems like that was a lot of big drug dealers at that time, especially the 80s, that crack just destroyed them. Because you had a scene in here in episode 5 where she's off that. She is tweaking and she's just going around spraying this Uzi at this party, just straight up tweaking, bro. And you got other characters in here like Dario, which you meet his character very earlier on. He ends up kind of joining forces with Griselda. A lot of people start to kind of join forces, old friends, new people, and they end up kind of well, she ends up turning on them because she's just completely paranoid because of this detective. And this detective June, I am a huge fan of June. I don't know who that actress's name is, but she is, yeah, I got a little crush on her, I'm not gonna lie. But she plays an interesting part in this as well, because there's a lot of parallels to her character in Griselda, where she's in homicide and nobody's really taking her serious, when she's the first one that kind of brought up the fact that you should be keeping your eyes out for this woman, this mystery woman. And once she gets asked to be a part of this task force, they kind of put more pressure on Griselda. And to see her rise so quickly and then fall, it's really crazy. And this is where I got an issue with this series, because yes, it's 6 episodes, each one is about an hour, but I think if you watch this, you could definitely tell that there was potential to make a full series, because you could have definitely squeezed out like 3 seasons, maybe like 6 to 8 episodes a season, instead of kind of just breezing by a lot of pivotal moments that just kind of feel like, I don't know, it would have hit harder if we stick with these characters a little bit longer, and seeing certain relationships with certain characters, especially like Carbon, where she was super against this whole thing that Griselda was doing, but all of a sudden now, the money's coming in, now she wants to be a part of it. You could have really fleshed that out in a season or 2 or something like that. And it just felt like the last couple episodes, even though they were dope, I just wish that it was a whole series, or at least give us 10 episodes, you know what I'm saying? And I think the actress that plays Griselda, Sophia, I'm drawing a blank on her last name, did a phenomenal job just in her performance. I just think, one, if they were to make this like a 3-4 season type of series, we would have had something here. But I understand, they wanted to make this like a 6-part kind of movie in a way, and they kind of covered most of, I guess, her life. Like I said, I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know what is real or what was just kind of made up for the show. That's going to be interesting to kind of look into, what I'm saying, as far as like that whole Uzi incident. Like, I wonder if that's a real thing that happened. I would assume so, especially if you on crack like that. You know what I'm saying? You just bugging out on everybody, making enemies. You know what I'm saying? And what was crazy is in episode 3, she had a huge opportunity to just, get bought out. She got offered like 15 million to just, walk away from everything. And I was just like, bro, why wouldn't you take that? And that was another part of her downfall. And I really like the line that June uses at the end of this series, where she pretty much says, like, you're trying to sit here and prove to these men that you're this and that, but you ended up getting caught by a woman at the end of it. I was like, damn, that kind of hits different. I know I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what she said. And I just like those parallels between those characters, because they're both trying to rise up into the ranks in their own kind of way, where Griselda is rising up in the criminal world, June is rising up in the law enforcement side of things. I just feel like that's another element that would have definitely benefited if this series was a bit longer. But overall, I think this will be an interesting watch for a lot of people. Also, I wanted to mention that this ending was very tragic. Her whole entire, bloodline damn near got eradicated before she got released from prison, and how she ended up getting pretty much assassinated, and a lot of people that were just involved it's just crazy to kind of see these types of stories. But let me know how you guys feel about this in the comments below. Do you know more than I do about Griselda? Did this series give you the correct timeline, or was a lot of things exaggerated just for the sake of the check, or just for the sake of just entertainment? Because that's how a lot of these kind of biopics are nowadays. They gotta leave certain things out, they gotta exaggerate certain things. So let me know if somebody knows anything about Griselda Blanca, and if you've seen this series in its entirety. Did this do her story justice, or do you feel like it was a bit rushed and should have been a full-fledged series to kind of flesh out a lot of her life and whatnot? Anyways, till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.